Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, in question 1, it says circle expression equivalent to the difference between 7 and 4 divided by a fifth. Now, what I usually like to do is write it myself. It says difference, so I know the subtraction. 7 and 4. And since it's saying difference, I'm doing a division. I know I'm going to have to put parentheses. It says divided by, so that's my divided by symbol, by a fifth, 1/5. And we can see that it matches this one right here. This number 2 says circle the expression equivalent to 42 divided by the sum of 2/3 and 3/4. So I know the sum, 2/3, 3/4, and it says 42 divided by the sum. So I know I'm going 42 divided by the sum. And we can see the one that matches it is this one right here. But now we've got to find out what other one does. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to rewrite it as a fraction. So I got 42 divided by 2/3 plus 3/4. And we can see here is the one that matches it. And I do not need parentheses and when I rewrite it as a fraction because I would have to do 2/3 plus 3/4 before I divide it into 42. Okay, now on A here we're rewriting as an expression in word form. So I can see right now I have the sum. So I'm going to put the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5 divided by 5. Now I could also put this as the quotient of the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5 divided by 5. Okay, on D, now once again I'm starting with the difference. So I'm going to put 1/6 of the difference of 4.8 and 1/2. And the last one, I'm going to put the difference of 8 and the sum of, oops, it's not going to be the sum, it's going to be the quotient of 1/2 and 9. I don't like that. Okay, question 4 is wanting us to compare from 3A and 3B. In 3A, it had 3 1/8 plus 4.5, and this was times 1/4, and that was 3A. In 3B, we had the same 3 1/8 plus 4.5, but we were dividing by 5. Now the key on these they're trying to show you, and starting off with the multiplication, is that if I take any number, and I'm just going to take 5 times 1, I'm going to get what I multiply it by. If I multiply by a whole number greater than 1, it's going to get larger. If I multiply by a number less than 1, let's say 1/2, I'm going to get a smaller number. And the same thing with division. If I divide a number by 1, I'm going to get the same number. If I divide a number by a whole number, it's going to get smaller. And if I divide it by a fraction, it's going to get larger. Okay. Now, the best thing for this, I like doing a tape diagram to compare both of them. Here is two tape diagrams, and they're both going to represent the 3/8, 3 and 3/1/8 plus 4 and 5/10. So they're representing this right here. And it doesn't matter, it can be any number. But what I'm looking at, I know multiplying by 1/4 is the same as dividing by 4. So in 3a, I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide it by 4. And I know my answer is going to be this shaded area right here. Now, on the bottom one, it says I'm dividing by 5. So now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I can see that this one here being 1/5 is going to be smaller than 1/4. So 3a is going to be the greater value. Evaluate the following. Well, we know with these we have to follow PEMDAS. P is for parentheses. E is for exponents. Then we go multiplication and division, and that's left to right. And then we have addition and subtraction, left to right, whichever ones come first. So I'm going to start here, and I can see by PEMDAS I have to do the parentheses first. 11 minus 6 is going to be 5 divided by 1/6. Now, in order to do this, I know I'm going to have to use the inverse, which is skip, flip, and multiply. So it's going to be 5 times 6 over 1, which equals 30 over 1, which equals 30. On the second one here, we're going to multiply across first. We're going to have a 9/5 times 4/6. And now we're going to multiply. We're going to have 36 30ths. Now, if I was going to reduce this, I think I would reduce this by 6, because I know 6 times 6 is 36, and then I know 5 times 6 equals 30. Cross them out. Now we have 6/5, which we know this is equal to 1 and 1/5. For C, parentheses first, I still have 1/10 divided by, we're going to have to flip, skip, and multiply, so we're going to end up with 10 1s. And when we come to the next one, we know we're going to have to flip, skip, flip, and multiply again. So we end up with 1/10 times 1/10, and that's going to give us 1/100th. Okay, Leah's sending out 32 birthday party invitations. She gives 5 invitations to her mom to give her family members. Lee mails a third of the rest, and then she takes a break to walk her dog. Write a numerical expression to write how many invitations Lee has already mailed. Well, let's do a quick tape diagram just so we can get a picture of it. And we know that there's a total of 32, and it says that she gave 5 to mom. And we know the rest right here, the rest is going to be 32, which is the total minus the 5 she gave mom. So in order to find out how much how many invitations she's already mailed, it says she's mailed a third of the rest. So 1/3 of 32 minus 5, which is the rest. Now, if we come down to part B, it says which expression max how many invitations still needs to be sent out. Well, if you notice, this one here is equal to what we've written for what she's already mailed out. Okay, so it can't be that one. Now here it's shown, and this next one here is showing 32 minus 5 divided by 1/3. Well, that just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's come down here. We know this one here, this part right here, is actually what was mailed. And here, this shows total left. So if you take total left and subtract what she's already mailed, that's going to give you what you still need to send out. So